How's it going, everybody? Here to show you, we're going to be doing steakhouse style steaks at home. They come out just as good, and here's the process. What you're going to need is a charcoal tunnel, normally used to start your charcoal, a couple steaks obviously, and an instant read thermometer. This is key to get that nice medium rare pink inside. We'll show you the temperature as we get going on that. Grill grate, salt, and pepper. So basically the first step is going to be, we're going to pre-salt the steaks with some Fleur de Sel, and then we let them rest for 20 minutes. The salt will absorb a little bit, and while that 20 minutes is happening, we'll get the charcoal going in the charcoal tunnel and throw the grate on top of it to get it up to about 600-700 degrees, and then once you actually throw the steaks on, it'll reach about 1,000. So step one is to salt the steaks and let them rest, and then we'll move on in a second. Alright, so we'll throw a little bit of salt on each steak here. Nice good amount on there, a little bit of pepper. And we're going to do both sides. This is really going to help with the charring process. It's going to add some nice flavor when it seals up the meat. So once you do that, that's about it. I'm going to let her sit for 20 minutes, and then I'm going to go get this going, and we'll be back in a second. Alright, got the charcoal in. Put quite a bit in here. Since we're in Minnesota in the winter, especially in the winter if you're going to be doing this, you want to make sure you get enough coal in there so the flames will jump up and hit the steak. So if it's colder out and windy, you definitely want to put a little bit more in there. And then we're going to end up finishing these in the oven, but in the summer we usually finish them on the grill, but just because it's so cold out, it just kind of takes a while and a little bit easier to do it in the oven for terms of timing with stuff. So about 3/4 full, and we're going to light it up. And if you've ever used one of these charcoal starters before, you kind of know how it works. We use fluid, but otherwise, if you've used it before, you can stuff the bottom with paper and get them started that way. So it usually takes about 15 to 20 minutes, depending on temperature outside, to get the coals where you want them. And it's just as if you were going to grill. You want them all with a nice white covering, as if you were just grilling regularly, ready to go. So that's usually ends up timing out right with the resting of the steak. So once these things are ready to go, we'll throw some steaks on and kind of show you how that works. Alright, we just actually transferred the charcoal starter over. Usually what I do, if you have a grill, I set it inside the grill where you take the top rack out, set it on the bottom rack that the charcoals would rest on. That way when it's ready to go, if you're going to finish them in the grill, you can just take it and dump it in. So here's the grate. So I'm setting that on top, and I'm going to let that sit there the whole time now. So by the time those charcoals are ready, that grate is going to be red hot, and that's how you're going to get your nice sear on the steaks. And another thing with the steaks, which you'll see once I put them on, but you want to, if you're going to be doing steaks this way, a nice layer of fat definitely helps with the searing process. So we'll let this go and be back in a second. All right, coals are ready to go. You can see we got a nice flame, some redness going on here. So the other thing is, when the tongs you want to use, they have the tongs that have the rubber coating at the end. You do not want to use those in this situation because it gets way too hot. So usually what I do, like I said, is between 45 seconds to a minute on each side. So you just throw her on, and you can see as the fat starts to melt and drop, this basically turns into a blowtorch, and it's going to sear it. So you can throw a timer on it, but basically just kind of average it out to 45 minutes to a second, and then we'll flip it and check the side, and then I'll kind of show you what you want that to look like. But it's not going to take very long, but it's a beautiful sight. It's warm enough out here tonight. Usually when we do this when it's cold, I end up almost sometimes 2 minutes. It just kind of depends on the temperature outside. You can see the fat starting to melt and kind of drip off. So you get that nice char. It's going to seal everything in. That's why you want the fat. You wouldn't get this big flame if you didn't have a nice layer of fat on that steak to drip off and fuel the fire. So I'm just going to check it real quick. close. I'm going to give it a few more seconds. The other reason you want to use the thick steaks, with the thinner steaks, it's really harder to get to that nice medium rare 125, 130 degree center. So the thicker steaks generally work a lot better for this style of cooking. Yeah, that's what you want right there. So we'll flip it. Since these are nice and thick, what I'm going to do is I'll do the same thing on this side till we get that nice color. And with the thicker ones, I try to do the sides a little bit too, if it's thick enough to do the sides. So it's basically going to be the same process. Leave it on here until you get this nice coating. If you've got a thick enough steak, you can char the sides for a few minutes, not for a few minutes, but for 45 seconds or so. And then pull it off, and then you will finish it off in the oven. So that's this part of it, and we'll move to the oven when we're done here. Alright, so just pulled this one off. You can see that nice char on both sides and on the end. So that gets it nice and sealed up. Now the temperature on the inside of this thing probably right now is probably only about 75, 80 degrees. But you get that nice finish. So you'll see the same thing. Throw this next one on. The nice thing about this is that heat, especially when you get that fat on there, it brings them flames up. And also, by the time you're done cooking, it chars that so nice it basically melts and gristles all that fat. So you're not trying to chew through fat when you're eating it. It's like butter afterwards. That's the key. Just melt that fat off and fuel the fire. Alright, we just brought the steaks up off the charring. So basically we're going to set them on one of these grates and then on a pan. We're going to finish them in the oven. Like I said, if it was summertime, we'd probably finish them on the grill. So like I was saying outside, you can look right now, the internal temperature of these are only 75 right now. But this nice coating is what's going to give them their juiciness, and they're just going to turn out amazing. So depending on what you like, I mean, we want a medium rare. I mean, you want that nice pink in the middle. So I'm going to throw them in the oven. Set the timer for about 125. Both these are about the same thickness, so if you're not, depending on what you're looking for, you just want to decide which one you want to put it in. If I put it in, this one's a little bit thicker, we'll set it for 125, and then that way we'll be right about where we want. 125, 130 for a good medium rare. So we don't even bother with the timer. We have this is the kind of thermometer I use. That way we can have it sitting outside the oven, and you just watch it and pull them out when they're ready. So gonna stick them in the oven, and we'll get a nice shot of what they look like when we cut them open in a second. Alright, we're just about to pull them out of the oven, hitting 130. 130 to 135 is ideal medium rare temp. So we're gonna pull them out and salt them and then let them rest. So let's get to that. So the process here is these need to sit for about 5 minutes, just rest for 5 minutes, kind of lets all the juices incorporate and give them a chance to, I want to say cool down, but actually they're going to increase in temperature from 3 to 5 degrees, so it'll be right in that 130 to 135 range for an ideal medium rare. So we're just a little bit more salt on each side. We had the oven at 250, and it was in there for about 20 minutes or so. It's going to depend on your oven, but that's like I said, as long as you got the thermometer in there, you're just going by that. So you throw it and cover them up, and then we'll 5-minute timer, and in 5 minutes of rest they will be ready to go. We'll check back. Alright, 5-minute rest, plated with some nice mushrooms, couple pickles for digestion, a nice low-carb meal. So as you can see, it's basically the perfect color on top. You can throw a little feta cheese on the top to give it a little more color. But yeah, that's basically what you're going to want. Finish off with 130, 135 degrees in the middle. Perfectly cooked steakhouse style New York strips. Give it a try. I think you'll love it. And also feel free to enjoy it with your favorite glass of wine or other adult beverage. It's a nice pairing. So thanks for watching, and keep eating. Thanks.